Well, hi all, and welcome back to the old classic car channel, and it is that time again, another entry into the I wouldn't say no files, another gem plucked from the classifieds and the online auctions to share here on the channel and just have a little bit of a chat about. Today's choice dates to the mid to late 1950s, bit of a maligned saloon, a British saloon of the era, but one that is increasingly rare now on the classic car show fields. The surviving cars on the road must literally, you could probably count them on the fingers of one hand. It is the Riley Pathfinder, yes, the replacement for the famous RMF, the series of cars produced for a number of years immediately post World War II, but this was a completely fresh design, at least above the skin. Under the skin, twin cam engine 2.5, very much based on that of the previous RMF. But yes, today we are looking at an example, a proper garage find example, which is just how I like to find them, of the increasingly rare Riley Pathfinder. So without further ado, let's get inside and have a bit of a chat about the car that I've just seen advertised for sale. Come on then. Rightio, here we go. So here is the lesser spotted Riley Pathfinder that I was just talking about a moment ago in the garage, MMJ 736, the original registration number. And I think what we'll do is, before we look at the written description, which is really quite comprehensive, let's just have a look at some of the photographs, because this really is an unusual thing to see. And in fact, it looks really at home in this old building. Looks like the kind of place that's well worth a visit. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the car itself. We'll just zoom in there, and you can see already just how original the paint is. There's lots of sort of surfacey pockmarks around, especially on some of the upper surfaces and over on the near side front wing there, which is the kind of thing you do expect to find on a barn find or garage find car. But yeah, this one looks to be super duper rare. And if we look at the centre there, is the badge on the top of the radiator grille, so you can see the pale blue background just over there. So on the previous RMs, that was always a sign that you were looking at the 2.5 litre twin cam car as opposed to the 1.5, and the same tradition carried on into this, the Riley Pathfinder, or the RMH series of Riley as officially it was known. But yeah, 2.5 litres, I don't think they even did a smaller engine version of these. They were all the 2.5 twin cam. But a very, very distinctive car, and pretty rare now. Like I say, the survivors must be in single figures almost in this country now. But I do love those hubcaps. We'll get a better look at those in a moment, but so distinctive, and I think they were unique to this particular model. And these were introduced in 1953, and they're only produced until 57, and then they were replaced by the Riley 2.6 Saloon, which was kind of based on this, but somewhat improved by all accounts. But by then, the damage was done. These cars didn't have a great reputation, especially in the handling department. Unofficially, some wag christened it the Ditch Finder instead of the Pathfinder, and the name kind of stuck. Apparently they were a bit prone to the rear panhard rod, the rear suspension. Apparently if you sort of did some exuberant cornering, you could actually shear the panhard rod off, and that would have pretty dire influences on the handling of the car, and you could well end up ploughing on into a ditch or a hedge or whatever happened to be on the outside of the corner. Hence the Ditch Finder nickname, which perhaps was deserved, who knows. But by now, no one drives them like that, so it doesn't really matter. But this is a seriously rare car, and I do love a 1950s saloon, so it's a real treat when I stumbled across this one just the other day. So let's go through the photographs first, and then we'll have a look at the description. There's a September 1962 tax disc in the window, so that'll please the philologists out there. MMJ 736 Private Riley, 4 months road tax disc. So that back then you could tax your car for just 4 months rather than the full year, if that's what you wanted to do. So it's a bit of a treat to see that. The paintwork all looks very dusty, but all looks very original as well. You can just see the aged windscreen rubber there as well. And a bit of a sneaky peek at the lovely leather interior in this particular car. And in fact, the next photo shows us some of that leather interior. Leather bench seats, big armrest and quite a well-stocked dashboard as well. These, I mean, Riley's, the saloons, they were always seen as quite sporting saloons. I'm not quite sure if sporting really applies to the Riley Pathfinder, but it certainly did to the previous cars. And how well received these cars were back in the day, I'm not so sure. The styling was very similar to that of the big old Wolseley, the 690, and indeed the slightly smaller 444s. They all came from the same basic gene pool, from what I can tell. But these were, think of them as a bit of a waft, a bit of a barge, and you probably wouldn't go too far wrong. But sporting, maybe not so much, but I do like it. Here we have a closer look. I mean, look how good that steering wheel is. You can tell this car has been parked up for a long time. And yeah, very good. 62 years it says there. And sometimes you get scuffing on the steering wheel rim when people who wear rings on the fingers, sometimes that can just damage the surface of the steering wheel. But this one looks to be in pretty good nick. You've even got a Riley key fob there, the diamond Riley key fob. So that's always a nice thing to see. The carpets look pretty good as well. So it pretty does look just as parked, and hopefully the mice haven't got at this one, because, you know, garage find, barn find, sometimes the cars are in beautifully preserved condition, dry, bone dry, and just as they were parked. Other times the damp gets to them, the mice get to them, or worse, and yeah, things aren't always particularly pleasant. But on the face of it, this one looks to be pretty good. As I always say with this type of video, I don't know the car, I don't know the seller, so make your own mind up before you even think about putting on a bid. Don't take me my word for it. The usual caveats apply. Right, let's carry on. Got a closer look at the dashboard. All looks super duper original, just how you like to find it. There's the proud Riley badge there, just on the bottom of the speedometer, showing 70,462 miles. So that's probably original. Whether there's any paperwork to back that up, I don't know, but by this time it doesn't really matter. You buy on condition, not what it says on the speedo. Here the door trim, so yeah, a bit of wear, a bit of sort of age wear and tear, but you know, that's original, and these things are only original once. Right, let's keep going down here, and there we have the under bonnet view. There is the famous Riley twin cam engine in 2.5 litre form. Really good, quite a pokey engine, around 110 brake horsepower, and old money by all accounts, fed by a pair of twin SU carburetors over there. The battery looks fairly recent, so I guess it may have had a little bit of fettling in recent times, just to see how close this car is to running. But yeah, fantastic. And the accessibility, I think, must be way better than on the previous RMF. There seems to be a lot of room around that to work on it, whereas on the RMF, with a centre hinged bonnet and the much earlier styling, I think accessibility could be a bit tight, certainly on the cars I've seen. Right, well, a bit of a closer look here at paintwork. So yeah, you've got a few sort of rusty, surfacey, rusty scabs coming through the original paint finish, but I reckon if you just scrubbed and polished to lose the redness, the sort of slight redness of the surface rust blemishes here and there, that would actually end up looking really nice and original. And you can look at that paint finish and think that was originally applied at the Riley factory back in the 1950s, and you can't say that once a car has been resprayed. But I think that would actually preserve oily rag pretty well. Now, I haven't seen any photos so far of the whole car just in one go. It's nice sometimes just to be able to sort of stand back and just look at a car and see how well it sits. But I'm not sure if we've got a single photo of the car in its entirety, so we'll just make do with what we've got here. There is that very distinctive hubcap again. They look really cool, a bit like a UFO. We can't see too much in the dark round here, but I'm fairly confident that the body is in pretty good nick. Obviously, sometimes they can get a bit tin-wormy around here when the mud kicks up from the wheels. But yeah, from what I can see, it looks to be a pretty sound candidate. Like I say, we'll have a proper read of the description in just a moment. There's that super groovy hubcap on the back. I like how the door handles are sort of blended into this strip below the windows. I think that's quite a nice touch. Pop-up semaphore indicators too. And yeah, the paintwork just dusty, but doesn't look too bad at all, at least from what we can see there. There's a rear view of the car. How perfect does that look? What a treat it would be to pull that out of a garage and gently recommission it. If I had the space, I'd be all over this like an ill-fitting suit. I think it's just a lovely looking candidate for a preservation job. There's a proud Riley badge, the diamond Riley badge on the back there. Original registration too, so the number plate pirates haven't ruined this one, so that's good to see. And yeah, this would just be such a lovely thing, just to gently clean up, polish up and preserve as is. Even the chrome, I mean, I'm sure it's not brilliant, but it certainly looks usable enough to me. And yeah, just as parked. We go inside again, and the headlining looks pretty decent. The old West of England cloth. Whether the moths have got to it or not, I don't know, but I can't see any damage here at all. So it suggests that yes, long-term parked, as it says, 62 years, but wherever it's been parked, it looks to have really, really agreed with this particular car. Got a little bit of tinworm at the bottom of the A-post, that is referred to in the description. But these cars are made from such sound metal that it's easy to repair something like that. It really is. Whereas on a car maybe just a few years newer, into the 1960s, a little bit of rust is often the tip of the iceberg, and you're chasing rust for days afterwards. But to be honest, cars like this, if they've been stored okay, any rust like this should be fairly localised, I would have thought. We've got a few added photos here of the underside, so a bit of surface rust, but nothing really that you'd worry about, especially not for a car that's, well into its 70 years. There we go. Just wants a bit of oil spreading around, and yeah, very, very promising. There is the original manufacturer's plate there, RMH, there we go, the series RMH, which is what it was officially known as in Riley circles in the 1950s. But like I say, these were only produced from 53 to 57, so they probably weren't super common even back then. And now, well, they're extremely, extremely thin on the ground. So that's the last of the photos that are included in this eBay listing. There's not too long to go, just over a day and a bit to go, so if you're interested in this one, you're going to have to dive in pretty quickly. But like I say, make all your usual checks first. Don't take my word for it. This car is over in Leicester, so obviously it would need collecting from there. Cash on pickup, it says. A bit of extra information here. And let's just have a quick look at the description just to sort of get the gist of it. The car is it's the oldest surviving Pathfinder known to the RM Club, number 74 off the line, and retaining all of its original early features, including body trim and single front door windows. It was taken off the road and stored by its second owner in early 1962 due to a gearbox fault. Clearly they didn't get around to it. The result is a completely original car. There's no sign of welding, and structurally it is very good. The only areas of corrosion are to the forward inner sills and the very bottom of the offside A-post. Paintwork largely original, some signs of local repairs to the doors and one rear wing. Paintwork has deteriorated during storage, and there are pot marks all around the body, but no perforation. That's the important thing. Some recommissioning work has been undertaken in recent years, hence the battery that we saw, mostly to the electrical, cooling, fuel and braking systems, but there's more to be done in these areas. The engine was run briefly about 3 years ago from a remote fuel supply. Fuel tank needs repair and is out of the car. I mean, that's no great surprise at all. They can get a bit rusty inside when the cars have been sitting. The main job required is the gearbox overhaul. Gearbox is still fitted. So I wonder what that could be. I wonder what's gone so wrong in the gearbox that caused it to come off the road in 1962 and not be fixed since then. So that'll be interesting. It could be something, it could be nothing, but yeah, obviously something to check into there. The interior is all original, including the cloth headlining, and will all be usable. Registration number is the original one, non-transferable, great stuff. The V5 is in my name, so that's good news. So a current log, so it's registered and it comes with a current logbook. That's always quite encouraging. There's the original RF60 registration book, so the old cardboard logbook, which should show who owned it early on, and some period documents and tax discs to come with it. Car comes with some spares, including new brake servo unit and 4 new or partly used taxi tyres. Incredible survivor of a rare model, deserves to be saved in its original state. RM Club has very knowledgeable members advisors, as an excellent spares supplier. Please ask any questions, blah blah blah. No reserve, collection from Leicester, LE3. And there's just a quick note to say they added in the extra photos of the underneath of the car. So what do you reckon, folks? What do you think of this particular car? Is it a car you wouldn't touch with a barge pole, or does this one appeal to you? Let me know in the comments. Are you going to have a bid at it? If you have a bid, let me know in the comments. Always good to see or hear about what you do as a result of these particular videos. Maybe you win it. Did you bid and win this incredible car? I'd love to know where it ends up. Hopefully it'll fall into appreciative hands. But there we go. That's the latest I Wouldn't Say No entry. The wonderful Riley Pathfinder, parked up for 62 years. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.